So like what happened to my office?
Yeah, this is not how I left it. Okay, so here is what I saw. Great job. I think modeling on that change you made in the moment to model on the reporting sheet was great because it actually like showed your key point of like we're adding the two areas together. I think here's the key point. Here's the evidence I saw of the key points. I saw you would smaller shapes can make larger shapes. I heard that in rule number 1. Add the area of smaller shapes. You did that with the turn and talk. What can we do? Kennedy said we could add them together. Let's look on the recording sheet. We're adding the areas together. And then, then I think the definitions of areas. So I wonder if, let's go back into the lesson and just jot down some ideas of how we can add in this more. And I know that you don't teach from that, but it'll just like get our heads to where it could go.
Oh, this is where I'm like kind of losing this because my exemplars are in here now. So it's like this whole thing.
That makes perfect sense. So go
yes,
ahead.
and when I was practicing this yesterday, I actually said this part, and I was talking about how last year we said rows times columns, and this year it's length times width.
Yeah. So I think in your hook, when you're like activating prior knowledge up here, like before you even tell them the thinking job, like there are a few things we know that are going to be important for us today. And adding that in, so just make sure you say it and they're already thinking about it. And I think the connection to rows times columns is a nice one.
Okay.
I think, and then let's see if there's a few other opportunities we can add in these phrases. So when I'm looking at the rules, so you each receive, your job is to place it another, then find the area of that new shape by reporting it. You had that. You said that pretty much exactly. Then partner A chooses 2 rectangles and sticks them together. Partner B figures out the area and says how many know. Yeah. So I wonder if right here, and this is kind of, I'm gonna kind of like model what I'm thinking because I can't explain it really. But I wonder if it's almost like narrating what you're doing so that these key points, like these exact phrases are what you're saying over and over. So if I'm modeling this game, I'd say, okay, so rule number 1 in this game is I get to choose 2 rectangles. Now I know that I can make a bigger shape with 2 smaller shapes. So see how I'm gonna put these 2 smaller shapes next to each other and I'm not gonna let them overlap. So I've got 2 smaller shapes that make 1 larger shape. Now partner B is gonna find the area of this whole shape. So just in the rule, I reiterated that I could take these 2 smaller shapes and make a larger shape.
Okay.
And then here, which I think you did this nicely, partner B finds the areas, that's how they know. You had the turn and talk, what can we do? Kennedy said we could add them together. Our reporting sheet shows that we can add them together. What can we do? Add them together. Like that kind of refrain you had, and I think we can beef it up even a little bit more with just some like choral response.
Okay.
Or like turn and talk, what did Kennedy say? She said we could add them together.
Yeah.
Don't forget that. You're adding the area together. And I think that'll just like, I think your key points are there. I think that'll just boost them up a little bit more. They're almost kind of like your soundtrack that you're adding in.
Okay.
Okay, so let's try it again. Is that clear? Are there any do you have any questions?
No.
Okay.
That's fine.
So let's do it again and let's see if we can see if we can say these key points a little bit more often. And then we'll debrief that. That's why I can jot down notes.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. 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 I'll sit over here so I'm your student. Go ahead.
So yesterday we talked about rectilinear shapes, and we know that they are composed of they can be composed of smaller shapes to make a larger shape. And today we're actually going to find the area when we compose 2 smaller shapes to a larger shape. Now, we already know from 3rd grade that when we talked about area, we talked about rows times columns. This year, we're going to change that up to length times width, which we have talked about yesterday as well. We know that our formula for area is what? Area equals
Length times width.
Length times width. So we're going to play our games with it. And this is the way it works. Partner A, I'll be partner A for now. Partner A is going to take 2 rectangles, 2 smaller rectangles, and create a larger shape, just like I have here. And we're going to make sure that they're not overlapping. Partner B's job is to find the area of this whole shape that is composed of 2 smaller shapes. The way they're going to find that area, the way I want you to find the area is to make sure that you're writing the equation for both. You're going to use your handy dandy blue markers today. You're going to make sure that you're writing the area for each smaller rectangle, and you're going to record that on your recording sheet. You're going to record that where?
On your recording sheet.
Yep. So let's talk about this one real quick. I have rectangle 1. How many rows do I have in rectangle 1? Take a moment, don't call out. How many?
6.
And how many rows? Columns.
4.
So what's my equation?
6 times 4.
6 times 4 equals what?
24.
24. I'm going to write that on there so I don't forget. And then I have rectangle 2. How many rows? What is my length and
Perfect.
width?
Yep.
What is my length and width for my rectangle 2? How many was my length?
4 and 4.
4 and 4. And my equation would be
4 times 4.
equals?
16.
Great. So I'm going to put that together and unsee it. I need to go to my recording sheet next. Both partner A and partner B are going to go to the recording sheet. And they're going to write down the rectangle equation for rectangle 1, which was what? They'll be able to see it.
6 times 4.
Yep. And then they have their area for rectangle 2, which was what?
4 times 4.
4 times 4. I want the area for this larger shape. How can I figure out the area of this larger shape? Take a moment and turn to a partner and let them know. How can you find the area of this larger shape? Back here, 3, 2, 1. Janera, what did you and your partner say?
Add up the areas.
You can add up the areas. But on my paper, I already have my equations. So I know that I can add up the areas 6 times 4 plus 4 times 4. And I remember us doing this last year. We said 6 times 4 was 24, and we said 4 times 4 was 16, and then 24 plus 16 is how much?
40.
Equals 40 square units. And we call it square units because it is composed of little squares. You and your partner are going to get a baggie, and you're going to find the area of a larger rectilinear shape, which is composed of 2 smaller rectangles. I don't know what's next.
Let that turn and tell your partner how you will find the total area.
Okay, turn and tell your partner how you will find the total area. Everybody, Darren, what did you say?
I'm going to add up the areas.
You're going to add up the areas. Great.
And